Good morning, guys. So we're going to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk about Without a Crystal Ball for just a minute. We're going to talk about Jeffree Star. We're going to talk about Brittany Dawn. And I think there was something else, but if I think of it, I'll think of it, whatever. First things first, Without a Crystal Ball. She is, once again, in the middle of some kind of issue with this channel, All Things Sassy, saying that this channel ruined her reputation and blah, 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 blah. I've heard this before from Katie. I have known of Without a Crystal Ball for going on 2 years. It has been 2 years because I discovered her when Micah Stauffer was, that whole situation was going on. I actually discovered her right before then, but either way, it was that period of time. Her shenanigans are predictable at this point. She does not surprise me. She will always be the master deflector. She will never take an ounce of accountability for her putting toxicity out onto this platform and disrespecting people that she talks about. She will never admit to being dishonest or twisting situations to fit her narrative. Her bad behavior no longer, and it's been this way for a very long time, her bad behavior does not surprise me at all. In fact, I expect it. So when I hear about her trying to blame someone for her having a bad reputation, I just sort of shrug my shoulders and move on. Do I think that it's right? No, absolutely not, because nobody else should be blamed for something that Katie did to herself. But as far as the, oh my God, this is crazy, that went out the window a long time ago. There are some people that are just, they continue to be surprised by her behavior and, just think that it's like something that is unheard of. For me, like I said, I just find her extremely predictable, and I find her extremely toxic, and I don't think that she will ever get better. I don't think that she will ever change or do better. I think that she is just lacks so much self-awareness. It's beyond something that can be repaired by her taking a step back and looking at what her role has been as to why there are literally channels dedicated to talking about her and her bad behavior online. She thinks that people are just trying to get followers off of her name or riding her coattails or spreading lies about her. And while maybe some of that is true for some people, I can't speak to every channel because there are many out there that I don't even know about. Most of what I've seen personally is just people discussing things that she does and sharing their opinions about it. Do I agree with anyone doxing her or, bullying her? No, I'll never agree with any of that. But she and the Dad Challenge podcast both actually have something in common. And the thing that they have in common is, for me, they both make me tired. When I think of them and the things that they do on a daily basis on this platform and others, I just feel tired, and it just makes me feel stressed out and confused as to why anyone would even be remotely surprised by anything that they say or do. And believe it or not, both of them have people that will still defend the actions that they're doing and the words they say. I have people coming to my comment section, I don't want to say consistently, but anytime Josh is mentioned, I have people saying, oh, you're obsessed with him, you're obsessed, you can't stop. I talk about toxic YouTubers. I don't know how many times I have to fucking say this for people. When I talk about toxic YouTubers, nobody is off limits if I'm aware of all of what they're doing. There's no obsession, there's no jealousy or whatever the fuck, other things people try to say. It's just such a weak argument to look at someone who is blatantly being a problem and say, oh, well, you're obsessed. What would you like me to do? Ignore it? Because then when I'm, if I choose to ignore it, then I'm not being a fair commentary channel. There's no winning with what you decide to do. So I choose to speak on it because I feel like that's what I owe my subscribers, is honesty. So I'm going to speak on it. Speaking of someone else who is very toxic and refuses to take any accountability for what they've done, is Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star was on the Impulsive podcast and had quite a few people talking on Instagram, and I also saw some stuff on Twitter, but not because I'm on Twitter. It was like screenshots from Twitter posted to Instagram. And he decided to go on this podcast and essentially blame Tati and James Charles for the, destruction of the beauty community on YouTube. And if that's not the stupidest thing that I've ever heard, do I think that they were key players in what happened? Absolutely. But the beauty community still exists on YouTube. It just doesn't have all of those really toxic people that were once at the top. Jeffree Star tried to say that essentially, people were jealous of he and Shane because they had the most popular makeup launch in beauty history, and of course everyone's just being a hater and trying to bring them down. That launch, while it had people excited, I don't think that anyone decided to go out and start drama because they were jealous. And as far as starting drama, Jeffree Star had one of the biggest hands in that. He was one who was constantly feeding into negativity and constantly holding things over others' heads and constantly putting out these vague statements where it would pique people's curiosity, and then he would get really upset if people were coming up with their own conclusions based on information that he had put out to the public. Jeffree Star, in my opinion, is someone who's going to go through the rest of his life blaming others for things that he had a very big hand in. Even if it's not completely his fault, even if he had a key role in it, he's someone who will never be able to say, well, this is what I did and I realized that was wrong. He has vowed to not do certain things again, and he's gonna be above the drama, and he's not gonna participate in it, and he's too busy focusing on all of his other brands to be playing around with other people who are in the drama space, or they're into drama. To me, he bores me. I have always seen him as someone who, to me, is very boring. I'm not interested in what he has to say. He, on the Impulsive podcast, literally used pretty much most of his time being interviewed to talk about things that were sexual and, let people know how good he is with these sexual acts that he, participates in. The whole thing is just very cringy. When you're like 18 years old or, 19, 20, and you kind of gloat about certain things that as an adult, like as an actual adult, you would never gloat about, because it's just unwarranted. It's not necessary. That's who Jeffree Star is. But he's a whole adult, and he's constantly gloating and talking about things that, like, nobody asked. Nobody asked you to talk about this. Nobody asked you to literally take up the entire interview talking about things that you do behind closed doors. So in between him talking about his sex life and not taking any accountability for being one of the most toxic people in the beauty community, that interview was pretty much a waste of time, in my opinion. I also realized how he said that supposedly he hooks up with all of these athletes and all of this kind of stuff. Supposedly the reason that he hooks up with all these athletes and stuff is because he won't out anyone. And then at the very end of the interview, he in fact was showing someone's face to Logan Paul and his podcasts, other people that were there in the studio. And Logan Paul even said, oh, his face is in there. And Jeffree tried to say something along the lines of, oh, he won't care, or something like that. It's just like, you're a fucking mess, dude. So even if Jeffree Star tries to act like he's just so above everything and all of this kind of stuff, I don't think that it's fair for him to try to say that the beauty community is dead, because it's not dead. It just doesn't have a bunch of toxic morons at the top of it like it did a few years ago. There are still plenty of very successful beauty creators on YouTube and other platforms as well. Is there drama? Absolutely, because there's just always going to be drama. In most communities, there's going to be some level of drama, whether it's center stage or behind the scenes. There's going to be some sort of drama happening. But there are still plenty of beauty YouTubers that do nothing but makeup content. Is it what is interesting to me at this point? No, I don't really care to watch beauty YouTube. Once in a while, I'll seek out a review from, someone like Dr. Dre or James Welsh when it comes to skincare stuff. But as far as makeup stuff, I just don't care to watch someone review the newest launch from Urban Decay or a box of makeup that Maybelline sent them. That's just not what's interesting to me at this point. And if that's what is interesting to you, that's no tea, no shade. I just have lost interest in what I would watch back in, 2016. So that's kind of that on Jeffree Star. The last thing I want to talk about is Brittany Dawn. Brittany Dawn decided to put up a TikTok, and Sincerely Sharon shared it, and then I also went and looked on Brittany's TikTok because I wanted to look at the comments for myself. And this was the most holier than thou TikTok that I've seen in a while. And that says a lot, especially coming from someone like Brittany Dawn. I'll play the TikTok and then I'll give you guys my thoughts. So as you guys could see with that TikTok, she was trying to say that she's sad about people that aren't going to get into heaven and, you know, whatever, because they're not living their life like she is. In that video, she was basically saying, I'm going to get into heaven, and if you're not living your life the way I'm living mine, you're not going to get into heaven either, and that makes me sad. This is disgusting. Brittany Dawn has come out and said that she is just against pretty much everyone and everything that you can be against. And it is not her decision to say who gets into heaven and who doesn't. And y'all already know I'm not a religious person. I do not push religion on my channel, but I will talk about it. But I'm not going to push my beliefs on you and say, well, I'm not religious, so you shouldn't be either. I'm here for people thinking freely and not monetizing their religion or using it as a shield. If you're selling tickets to a Jesus camp, personally, I don't agree with that. But am I here to say you're just, a rotten piece of shit if you go to an event like this? No. But I will share my opinion about it. But for her to say this and place so much fear and self-doubt on her followers to make them second guess, oh, well, if I'm not doing what Brittany Dawn is doing, or if I believe in something that she said she's against, then I'm not getting into heaven. First of all, none of us know what happens when we die. None of us. If you're sitting there making a TikTok, then you are still a living person, which means that you have not died yet. My problem is someone who is living trying to act like they know what happens when you die. And the role of Christians, based on what I have heard from many people, is to love all and accept all and forgive people for their sins. And, you can be born again whenever you're ready to accept Jesus and all of this kind of stuff. So why do we have someone like Brittany Dawn sitting on TikTok making money by telling people that they are not going to get into heaven if they're not doing what she deems as the checklist to get into heaven? That is so negative, it's so toxic, and it's so wrong for her to put that content out to people who might be in a really vulnerable position. They might start to doubt themselves. They might look at her, as a kind of a role model of sorts. She has a lot of young women who follow her on TikTok. And now, because of her message being so, outright, she is going to place doubt on some of these young women, and that is not okay. That is not your role to say who gets into heaven and who doesn't. She honestly, somehow she always manages to piss me off, but that video was one of the worst that I've seen in a long time, and I think that it's just a reminder of who she thinks she is. The woman literally thinks that she is just like God's gift, and she's here to tell everyone the rights and wrongs of life and how to, live for the Lord by her rules. Who are you? Get off your fucking high horse, Brittany Dawn. Stop putting this shit out to people. Stop telling people that you know some kind of secret that nobody else knows. You're extremely judgmental. You constantly talk down to people that aren't doing what you're doing, and you constantly use your platform in a really toxic way. And that's my opinion. So either way, I wanted to share my thoughts kind of on all of this stuff. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. So either way, I think I'm going to treat myself to a tea this morning. I might get an iced tea or something along the lines. I'm going to go and check it out. So for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.